And in my mind, a card of a day and a one card pull are two different things. When you start your day off and you want to get the vibe, right? Like, what's the temperature of the day today? You might pull a card. But then, like, let's say you want to ask a question or somebody is asking you a question, you want to pull more than one card because no card is an island. Hello, hello, kings and queens and everybody in between. I'm Ashley Michelle, your host of the Goddess Complex and resident witch. How you doing today, boo? I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. As we know, I am. There is no visual for today's podcast, so my YouTube friends, I'm sorry. Go binge another AAD, Astrology After Dark episode. If you love the visuals, your girl just wasn't feeling it today. She just wasn't. I need a retwist. I don't like how low my computer sits. And I was like, you know what? This is taking me longer to figure out visual aesthetics than it is to just give you all the tea. And we do the podcast to give you the tea. So we're going to give you the tea, right? So I hope you've been enjoying all the podcasting from wherever you're listening. I didn't even realize that I had my business birthday and my podcast birthday in January and February. And I didn't really acknowledge either of them. I acknowledged my business birthday 3 days after it happened. I'm officially 5 years into Starseed Shadows. And I've been podcasting now for 2 or 3 years. I'm not really sure which one, but a long fucking time. Well, not a long fucking time. There are people that have been doing this for like 10 years, but a good chunk of change, let's say, a good chunk of change. And I am just bewildered at some of our stats that I'll be going over soon here, not in this episode, but maybe in another one. Once we end up quarter one, I'll kind of let you all know where we are, but we're growing. Let's just say that we're growing. And so I am forever in pockets and pockets and pockets of gratitude for all of you who listen and who DM me and let me know that a particular episode moved you or ideas that you have for episodes in the future. I truly do appreciate it because any podcaster will tell you that podcasting is a labor of love. With that being said, because it's such a labor of love, make sure you share the episode, friends. Leave us that 5-star review. It really helps the algorithm. It really helps the algorithm get this work to the people that need it the most. And there's so many baby star seedlings and baby witches and baby healers and baby seers who don't recognize how many people are actually doing this work and are actually devoted and dedicated to this sort of soul growth. So make sure you do that. Some housekeeping. You may or may not have seen, we have a new masterclass. Those of you that have been around me for a while, you know my live teachings are where it's at. They are where it's at. And my astrology for 2024 has let me know that we need to place a big emphasis on community and instead of one-to-one, focus on the one-to-many. And so that's why you're going to see me doing a lot of one-to-many stuff, like the Eclipse series. If you haven't signed up for that, sign up for that. That is paid. Very low ticket, very accessible, which is amazing. But the free masterclass, the Fool's Journey, this is a masterclass on going back to basics with the tarot. This is a masterclass on understanding the story behind the major arcana. Understanding the foundations and fundamentals of the major arcana are going to help you understand the minor arcana and the royals, and therefore help you to be a better tarot reader. It all goes hand in hand. And Spirit has been calling me back to basics for a while now. And I've been wondering why. And upon further inspection, I do believe it's because I've had this wild influx of new individuals into my world who are so thirsty for this knowledge and they don't know where to start. So maybe instead of going deep in on Lilith, right, which I know you all love, but a lot of you have been in my universe for a while, so I can do that with you. Maybe we start with basics. Like, what's your sun sign mean? And I also think going back to basics is good review for everybody. I think sometimes we can get lost in the sauce and carried away looking at, Vedic astrology and rune work and the history of the equinoxes, right? And, where and which chakra to place red carnelian. That sometimes we just, what does the magician card mean in its entirety? You know what I mean? We're so anxious to soak in all this knowledge that we forget to kind of go back. So this free masterclass is going to be the bee's knees, like all of my masterclasses. It is on the 14th of March. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, darling, at 6:30 p.m. EST. Replay will be available to any of those who register. There's going to be count them, two giveaways for this free masterclass. So I suggest you go sign up. The link is in the bio, or the show notes, I should say. And also, this free masterclass is in celebration of my newest offering that I'm going to be dropping. And if you're inside the masterclass, you're going to know. Let me just tell you, what I am going to drop for you, you're not ready. You are not fucking ready. I am so excited for this. This is expansion, 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 expansion on a whole nother level. And I am just so excited to be in service of the new individuals that are going to enter inside of this portal, And so when you come inside the free masterclass, you're going to get a hefty ass fucking discount on what I'm offering, what I'm dropping, which will be announced there as well. So with that being said, what are we talking about today? The top misconceptions of the tarot, darling. This is something that I really, really wanted to talk about. Why? Because it's important. Tarot is in. Tarot is cool. Now all of a sudden, it's cool to be a tarot reader, which is great. But I've said this before. I'll say it again. I remember having to hide my tarot practice like it was the goddamn plague. I remember being scared that people were going to call me a weirdo, dude. I remember it like it was yesterday. Now everybody's reading tarot, which is great. But with what is it? What do they say with Spider-Man? With great power. With great power comes great responsibility. I think it's important to remember that the tarot, astrology, Reiki, energy cleansings, light code language, all of this stuff comes with great responsibility, and we must treat it as such. And although it's cool to be a witch now and everybody's doing all these things on TikTok and stuff, how do we differentiate the person that's doing stuff for views and likes versus the person who actually knows what they're talking about? And so that's why today I wanted to go over just some of my top misconceptions about the tarot. And should you see this stuff in other tarot readers or in individuals while you're scrolling online, or if this is something that you have thought about, fear not, my friend, because we're going to burst some bubbles today. My Aquarius moon is feeling activated. So the first one is that the tarot can tell the future. And you're probably like, well, Ash, I mean, you can do timing in the tarot. You can. But I'm talking about that freaking fool who comes to your tarot table and is like, tell me my future. If you're a tarot reader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's annoying, first off. So if you've done that, don't do that. Stop doing that. Okay? So the tarot it's a place for self-reflection and for introspection. The tarot is not a deck of cards that can tell you what numbers to pick for the lotto. That's not it. Are there cards that can help you understand timing? For example, you applied for a job. When will you hear back? Stuff like that. But it is naive and slightly immature to assume that the cards are going to tell you your future. Again, they are a space of self-reflection. And so, should you be that tarot reader that gets, say you read at like a witchy bar, some of you may or may not know that's where I started out. And, you know, the drunkards that would come up and be like, so tell me my future. I would simply respond to them and say, what's your question? Because you must remember, I didn't write this misconception down, but this is a good one too. You must always come to the tarot with a question. Some tarot readers may teach this differently. I will not, because I am a firm believer in this. You must come with a question. The tarot is going to read blindly if you come blindly, because the tarot is a space of self-reflection. It's a reflector. It is a mirror. So if you come in blind, you're going to get a blind reading. I hope that makes sense. So the more pointed that your question is, the better. The better. You want to try to stay away from yes or no questions. Is my day going to go good today? Does he like me? Will he ask me to marry him? Does my ex miss me? And I use those examples on purpose because those are the examples that we get a lot as tarot readers. Love, lots of love and money, you know. And that's cool. I get that because we all want to be loved and we all want to make money. But I would urge you, friend, to go a bit deeper with the cards, right? Because they can be such a sacred space for transformation, right? And such a sacred space for you to understand like who you are and your role in the world and how you could be even better than you were yesterday. And so instead of asking these very simplified, oversimplified questions, why can't we ask, what do I need to do to prepare myself to be married? What blocks or limiting beliefs do I still have around the sanctity of marriage? What reasons did my relationship fail? What reasons were of my own? You notice how we took those questions from before and we stretched them, we expanded them a little bit so that we're not getting yes or no answers, but we're getting answers with substance, answers that we can take with us, that we can improve upon, that we can expand upon, that we can embody. This is how we want to use the tarot. So that was a 2-for-1. There's a 2-for-1 there. The tarot cannot tell the future, and you always want to come to the tarot with a question. Now, some of you may be asking, well, what about like a card of the days? Of course, you can do a card of the day. No card is an island, right? And that is to say, if somebody's asking you a question, like the one card pulls, I'm not the biggest fan of. And in my mind, a card of a day and a one card pull are two different things. When you start your day off and you want to get the vibe, right? Like, what's the temperature of the day today? You might pull a card. But then, like, let's say you want to ask a question or somebody is asking you a question, you want to pull more than one card because no card is an island. When you're pulling for yourself or for anybody else, all the cards work together because, again, the tarot is a story. So I hope that kind of makes sense. A card of the day is different than a one card spread in my mind, and it should be in yours too. Okay. Next misconception. The tarot will solve all your problems. Let me just ask the tarot. The tarot will know. I mean, you would think this is like, well, duh, Ash. But like, no, babe. No, it's not that easy. It's not duh. Because people think because you're a spiritual worker or because you've done your shadow work or because you looked at your astrology or whatever it is, that you're all healed and shit. You know what I mean? It's the same for the tarot. So, like, the tarot is not there to solve all your problems. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but it's worth repeating. The tarot is here as a space for self-reflection. And the only way your, quote, problems are going to be solved is if you do something about those problems. Only way. So let's go back to that example on does my ex-boyfriend miss me? Yes or no? And then we expanded on that, and the question was, what limiting beliefs or behaviors contributed to the breakdown of my relationship, and which of those were mine, right? Now, whatever cards we get, right? But maybe we get, I don't know, the Two of Cups upside down. What if we get Temperance, and then Nine of Swords is always a good one for something like that. We get these cards, and then we interpret them, we journal on them, we write on them, the whole thing. What happens then? Does it just go in a journal, never to be seen again? Or are we expanding on what we've learned? Are we integrating what we've learned? Nine of Swords card is an anxiety card. It is your quintessential anxiety card in the tarot. So if you're pulling the Nine of Swords for something like that, somehow, whether it was your anxiety or their anxiety was a highly contributing factor to the breakdown of the relationship. And like, I could talk your ear off about this, right? Was it anxiety that they're going to leave? Was it anxiety that I'm not good enough? Was it anxiety that I'm not pretty enough? Was it anxiety that they're not good enough? Was it anxiety around getting married or not getting married? Was it anxiety around having children, or was it the children? You know what I mean? What happened with the anxiety? That's what I'm getting at. How are we taking what we're learning from these cards and then implementing it into our lives to create the change that we are seeking? This is why the tarot alone will not change your life. It is the implementation of the lessons from the tarot that will change your life. That's the difference. And that goes for everything. That goes for every spiritual worker that you've worked with. That goes for every time you've looked at your birth chart. That goes for every single time you've pulled out some runes. That goes for every time you sit in meditation. The spiritual walk will not change your life alone. It is the implementation of the spiritual concepts that you are learning on a regular basis that will change your life. And that, my friend, is the difference. So I hope that hits. Next one. This is going to be controversial. Yeah. In the goddess complex, we like controversial things. The next big misconception that I want to talk about is that the tarot can be wrong. Dun, dun, dun. No, it can't. No, it can't. No, the fuck it can't. The tarot never lies. Okay. It never, ever lies. I got my first tarot deck at 17. I've got tarot journals up the asshole. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm in the thousands at this point. Tarot never lies. The tarot's even given me some information that I was like, no, honey, no. I'm getting the moon card on my newest boo. And I'm like, yes, this is the new boo. I love this motherfucker. Yeah. And there's the moon. Like, bitch, no, you don't. And I'm like, oh, you's a lie. 3 months later, you were right. This is why tarot journaling is so powerful, because that's a true story. It's a true story. I had a new boo in my life that I was really like hopeful for, right? I was like, I think this could be a match. The astrology worked. We had chemistry. I thought it was like a thing. And I pulled some cards, and there was the motherfucking moon, honey. And the moon card is notorious for illusion. Whenever the moon card comes in, you're not seeing things the way that you should be. And I was like, oh, no. And I was like, no, that's not true. Repull. And I journaled on the whole spread. I journaled on everything. And lo and behold, 3 months later, that person not only was not like a match romantically, but not even match friendship wise. He actually really ended up hurting my heart. Not to get too deep, but during the BLM movement, I was out protesting and activating and all of that, white guy. And he never even called me. He never even was like, are you okay? And we were not in a fight or anything before that. He never was like, I wasn't looking for him to go out and protest, it's people's prerogative should they want to do it. But it would have been nice as somebody that was so close to me to continue being close to me during times that were so heightened. So needless to say, he very much so disappointed me in a way that I didn't think that he was capable of. The moon card. And so to say this, the tarot is never wrong. Sometimes our interpretations of the tarot are biased, right? And nothing is wrong with that. We are humans living a human existence, and we live in a world of opposites, and that's by design. As above, so below, the first rule of witchcraft. We can't experience one thing without experiencing the other. It is in our nature to be biased in some way. That's why I always say a witch always needs a witch, because sometimes reading for yourself is always going to be a bit biased, right? And even reading for your friends, who wants to deliver bad news? It's hard even reading for clients. I've read for clients and they have specific questions on things, and the cards are, a bit ominous, if you will. And so I got to figure out how to deliver that information in a way that is of integrity and also kind, because I wouldn't be doing my job if I made everything rainbows and butterflies. I got to deliver the tea. You came to me for the tea, But anyways, the tarot never lies. The tarot is never wrong at all. Now, what does that have to do with free will? So the tarot reads for the moment that you are in. Okay, so that's important to note. Circumstances can change. The decisions that we make can change. So let's say, for example, you consulted the tarot on a job opportunity. Let's say you had this job interview and it went so fucking well, and this job checks most of the boxes, right? Not all, but most. And you could live with it, right? And you actually kind of want it. You want it. Maybe you've been job hunting for a while, and even though it checks 8 out of 10 boxes, you're good with that. So you want to consult the tarot and say, is this a good job opportunity for me? Like, is this a good place for me to expand? Will I expand at this job? Should I take it? Are they going to give it to me, right? And let's say you pull like a 5 or 6 card spread and you get raving reviews about the job opportunity. You're like, the tarot is like, bitch, fuck yes, you can expand this job. Now let's say the next day, an even better job calls you. They check 10 out of 10 boxes. You go in for the interview, you get it on the spot, you start on fucking Monday. That doesn't make that reading null and void. You very much so still could have expanded gloriously at that first job. You just got a better opportunity. I hope that makes sense. So, tarot is not wrong. It works very much so off of the position that we're in. And so, like, using those jobs A and B as an example, let's say you waited to do the reading until after you interviewed with job B. Maybe the reading would have read differently, because now you've got the interview from job A and the interview from job B. Before, you only had the interview from job A. It's circumstantial. That's actually a great word for it. Thank you, Spirit. The tarot is circumstantial. You know what I mean? It's based off what we have in front of us, because again, the tarot is a mirror for us. And so it's not that it's wrong or that it's incorrect. It's that sometimes our interpretations are off. Sometimes our interpretations are biased. And sometimes situations are circumstantial. And so the more that you read, the more that you can avoid your interpretations being wrong, right? The more that you learn the tarot and connect with your cards and really understand the meanings and the symbolism within each card, the less that first part is an issue of your interpretations being off. and then having biased opinions, well, you can focus on reading less for yourself. And one thing that really helped me, this was advice from a mentor of mine way back was when I would read for myself, I would turn on my voice recorder thing on my phone, and I would read like I was reading to a client. So like whatever question it was, and then I would literally shuffle my deck and I would read like I was reading to a client, like there was somebody across from me. And I would record it all on my voice memo app and then re-listen to it later. That can help with having unbiased opinions if you want to read for yourself. And also, like, a witch always needs a witch. Book with me, ho. Link is in the show notes. You can always book with me or any other tarot reader too. So yeah, that's really important to note. And then circumstantial, right? So going back to that example with the 2 jobs, nothing is wrong with doing a second reading. Like if your circumstances change in the midst of like a question, right? Or walking a specific path that you're on, there's nothing wrong with doing another reading. I also like to do readings with different decks. I'll talk on one question with multiple decks to see what comes up on purpose. If I'm working with one deck and I get the King of Pentacles and I'm working with another deck and I get the King of Pentacles again, there is some King of Pentacles energy within the answer to this question. There is something around stability and security that needs to be acknowledged around this question. So, hope that makes sense. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. The cards are inherently good or bad. Huge misconception. I'm going to be talking a lot about this inside of the Fool's Journey, the free masterclass. No card is good or bad, right? People get the Tower card and they're like, oh my God, my world's going to end. Or they get the Devil card and they're like, what's going to happen to me? No. They get the Emperor. They're like, oh my God, am I controlling? Who's controlling? Am I the monster? Am I the tyrant? No card is good or bad. Again, everything is circumstantial and situational, okay? Everything. And again, I hate to be a broken record, but we must remember the tarot is a reflection, right? It's a mirror. So when we're getting cards that are a bit more ominous, is a word that I like to use, we have to understand why they're being pulled. The Tower and death can be about destruction, but aren't they more so about disruption? Right? Like we have to disrupt what's going on to make space for what's coming, right? That's what's really going on here versus what we think is going on here. I forget where I read this or heard it. I think maybe it was a podcast. I'm just like ingesting so much content and so many different things these days on purpose. Anyways, so what I had heard was it takes the average human like less than 3 seconds to focus on the negative, and it takes them up to 8 seconds to focus on something positive, right? So that is to say that we immediately will go to a negative space. So you pull the death card, you immediately think, oh my God, who's going to die? And then 8 seconds later, you're like, okay, well, this area of my life needs to die. This is no longer serving me. Okay, well, maybe, this area I'm over with, I've outgrown this experience or I've outgrown this relationship. Then, you start really thinking about it. What does the death card actually mean versus, oh my God, who's going to die? Now, I know what you're probably thinking or wondering or questioning. Has the death card predicted death before? Yes. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that. I have had experiences where I pulled the death card for people and they have had somebody who's recently lost. Yes. But in its deeper meaning, The death card, and again, no card is an island. I knew that person, those people were dealing with death, not just because of the death card, but because of other cards that were along with it. And should you join the free masterclass, The Fool's Journey, we will definitely talk more about that idea that no card is an island and how to read the cards so that you can see that no card is an island. Either way, what I'm getting at, one of the deeper meanings about the death card is like death to that which does not serve me. Period. And so no card is evil, no card is good or bad. And we have pop culture to think about that. I always think about that. Oh my God, what's that movie that Beyonce was in? Oh my God, I'm not gonna sing it because you guys are gonna be like, bitch, bye. But Beyonce was in this movie. I think it was like a 90s movie, and she was the tarot card reader or went to the tarot card reader. One of the two. Either way, the death card was pulled. And then they go into this whole song and dance of about to die, like you're about to die. Everybody's about to die. My point being, babe, is the reason why we do this is because of pop culture. Think about all the times that tarot is shown on like mainstream movies, and it's always creepy and eerie and ooh. When tarot is like the exact opposite of that. And that is why I do this work, because I'm sick of it. I want my craft to like get its flowers. You know what I mean? So yeah, long tangent, but no card is good or bad. And the last one I have for you is that you have to read with spreads. Huge misconception. Now, spreads are great, especially if you're a beginner, but you definitely don't have to. In fact, I read with spreads for a long time, and then I realized that I don't have to do that. And now I don't. Like, I haven't read with spreads in fucking forever. Can I? Sure. But I haven't in forever. I find that my readings are more accurate and I'm in a better space of flow state when I'm not reading in spreads. So what does that mean? That means that when somebody sits with me in session, right, I'll let them talk, and as they talk, I'll start to shuffle. Their conversation, their verbiage, their words are almost like encoding the deck with their energy. You know what I mean? And then I'll start to shuffle, and then when I get the ping, and that's the best way I can explain it, I'll get the ping to start to pull. So I might pull one, I might pull three, I might pull six, whatever the fuck, whenever God tells me to stop, right? And then we'll talk about those cards in relation to whatever this person is speaking on. Because whatever this person is speaking on, those cards are being pulled for whatever that person is speaking on. I hope that makes sense. And then, you know, whenever it's time, I'll get back up and I'll pull again, and I'll pull again, I'll pull again. And then I'll reference certain cards. I just had a session today where the first round we pulled the Page of Pentacles, and then the next round of cards we pulled the Ace of Pentacles. And so I went back to the page and I was like, babe, like there's something deep here around re-establishing foundation for you, because we're looking at a page and an ace, which are two cards that are like the beginner workings of foundation, the beginning, right? The prequel, if you will. And so that pinged me that we had to go back to that page because we're getting a lot of pings on this. So again, nothing's wrong with spreads. I'm going to be talking about spreads inside of the Fool's Journey. I think spreads are absolutely great, but I don't want you to feel bound by spreads or restricted by spreads. And I've noticed whenever I'm tutoring new tarot readers, that is a big thing. They have to like memorize the meaning of each card position, and does this go this way or does it go that way? And then what happens if it's upside down? Sometimes the spreads can overcomplicate things, and sometimes they can oversimplify things. We all know about the one card spread, and I already talked about why I have a problem with that. So, you know, in my personal opinion, I don't think that you need to, I don't think that you need a spread in order to be an effective tarot reader, is really what I'm getting at. I think that's a misconception. I think that's a huge misconception. So, yeah. I hope you guys love this episode. This was really fun to record. Let me know if you have any misconceptions on the tarot. I would love to know if you've come across something, or if you want me to like debunk one. One that I missed, a bonus one, is that you have to be gifted your first tarot deck. So not fucking true. You do not have to be gifted your first tarot deck whatsoever. You can totally buy that ish. Join us inside the Fool's Journey if you loved this, and make sure you share the episode, give us a 5-star review, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao for now. Hey, babe, did you love the episode? I sure hope so. Don't forget to enter that contest to win a $500 voucher to be used inside of the Starseed Shadows universe on anything you want. How amazing, right? So here's how you enter. You leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you take a screenshot of the review and tag me in it at Starseed Shadows on Instagram. Super easy, super simple. Write the review on Apple Podcasts. Put it in your stories on IG, tag me in it, and you will be entered to win a $500 voucher to be used on anything inside of the Starseed Shadows universe. We choose a new winner each month. So let's get it, babe. Thanks for listening. See you next week.